Welcome, you're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Andrew Bird and his new album, Inside Problems. That was released on June 3rd. This is studio album number 13 for him and his follow-up to 2020's Hark, an album of holiday-themed music that he released shortly before the season began that year. And then last year, collaborated with Jimbo Mathis to put out These 13. That album is outstanding. If you have not checked that out, I would set aside some time this week to do that. You will thank yourself for it. The man stays busy. It's what I really dig about Andrew Bird. One of the many things I should say. But between his solo work and his collaborations, he's put out something just about every single year since releasing his solo debut back in 1996. So I appreciate the prolific output. I appreciate the consistency that is there as well. If you know the man's music, you know. If you're not familiar with this guy, he is certainly one of those artists that has carved out and cultivated his own unique and very distinct style of alternative music. And I really love what he brings to the table. I would argue that he's one of those artists that, because of what he does, you're either in or out, but most of the people that I know are in, and rightfully so. He's an incredible multi-instrumentalist, but his ability as a violinist, I mean, he's a treasure to behold. He is just, it's like you listen to him on an album and he sounds incredible, but to watch him live, there's a lot about him that reminds me of Ian Anderson. Two things, actually, two really big things. The first is his presence on stage, the way that instrument is like an extension of him, and there's just this beautiful song and dance just all over the stage, the entire show. He just commands your attention, and it really is, it's quite special to watch. And the other thing is, you hear a lot of, I guess, string orchestration or, any type of string instrumentation in a lot of alternative music these days. But I don't hear a band employ it the way that Andrew Bird employs the violin, the way that it leads a song. And that's what I mean by the second comparison with Jethro Tull is that there's just not a lot of progressive indie alternative music out there that's as flute driven as Jethro Tull's music is, and that's what Ian Anderson brings to the table. And I see that comparison with Andrew Bird as far as the plucking technique that he employs, all the different things that he has come to master on that violin truly make him one of the special musicians out there in the alternative scene. So I love that about him. I love the whistling technique that he employs. It's incredible. Oftentimes maybe like many people find whistling to be kind of annoying, but there's nothing irritating about it when it comes into a composition. It sounds so organic and so natural, not forced or contrived in any way, shape, or form. And the melodies that he employs when he's working with that whistle, truly exceptional to listen to. And I'm not really familiar with anybody that has that talent out there right now. If you're listening to anybody who whistles as well as Andrew Bird, put that in the comments below, please. I would love to check out someone that's got a similar technique to him. But all that great stuff that you love about Andrew Bird is going on this record, and I'm not going to sit here and argue that it's his best record to date. If you wanted to make that argument, I would give you Audience though. And that's what I really dig about this guy, is that his entire catalog, it's that consistency. And all the people that I know that listen to this man, there's a vast range of opinion as far as what his best effort is. So I could certainly see, as time goes on, this becoming people's favorites. This is a really solid record with a lot of fun music on it. It kicks off with Underlands. It's got this great plucked intro. I love that technique when he's working with it. And it's just like this combination of jazz, soul, and a little bit of soft rock once the instrumentation kicks in, and then that breaks away when the vocal kicks in, and then it comes back. I really like the build of the song and that introduction there in the first part. Great whistle breakdown in this song. Really one of my favorite things about the guy. Just can't get enough of it when I throw on his stuff. And I like the classic pop feel of this song, a little bossa nova here as well. On his last record, he not Hark, but the record before that, he went a little political, and actually probably the most political that he's been on any record in his career. And he's certainly not hitting that level on this album, but I think that reading along with the lyrics certainly enhances the experience of this record. And I like what's going on lyrically in Underlands. The whole package gives me this feeling of Marvin Gaye a little bit. I think it's a great album opener, and I really dig that song. Lone Diddy On is your second song. It's got this slightly sinister and spooky melody to it. It sounds like Elvis Costello meets Nick Cave. I really enjoyed it for that reason. It's got kind of a doo-wop element to it. And then the outro is just this great avant-garde violin thing that just reminded me a lot of Velvet Underground. There's quite a few moments on this record, actually, where the Velvet Underground came to mind. And I just dig that so many bands are harking back to that New York scene of rock and roll and dialing into that inspiration. I'm hearing it a lot these days, and I absolutely love the Velvet Underground, so I appreciate it. Fixed Positions is your third song, acoustic intro. I love this song. Has this great sense of immediacy, but it's also gentle. It's like, it's like this just eager lover who's willing to express all of his emotions. And, the song plays out that way lyrically a little bit as well. It's got this great psychedelic rock feel. Reminded me of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, or if you want to throw Mr. Young into the mix there in that collaboration. Really enjoyed the feel of that song, the way that it leads into your title track, Inside Problems. It's a beautiful folk-driven track. I like the acoustic and vocal element here. Bright melody. It's got this great rolling plucked guitar throughout the song, and definitely reminded me a little bit of Simon and Garfunkel. I like the way this song builds and then, just turns into this great indie rocker towards the end of it. The Night Before Your Birthday. This is song number 5. Intro is fire. I absolutely love this track. It's got a great classic rock feel. Another track here reminded me of the Velvet Underground quite a bit, and certainly one of my favorites for that reason. Make a Picture is your 6th track. It's going to close out the A side. I love the groovy bass riff on this track. It's got this driving percussion that's it's really it stands out, and I love this song for its minimalism. There's just a little bit of violin that moves in and out of this thing. There's this great muted reverb riff that it's a fine example of just how you can do so much with so little, in my opinion. I've heard differing opinions about this track and some other moments on the record where it felt like the music didn't reach its full potential, and I completely disagree with that. I think this song is a really cool example of what you can do, or I should say how you can do so much with a very, very little tiny bit. Your B-side, is going to kick off with Atomized, your 7th track, and I love the energy. I love the way that this picks things right up for the second half of the record. It's got this great world feel, especially in the percussion, and just a solid groove. It really is a nice way of just reestablishing that energy after Make a Picture. Faithless Ghost is your 8th song. It's got this whistle intro. Finally, we get a whistle intro in a song. There's been lots of whistling up to this point, but nothing that's dominated in the intro. So I like that. I like the driven folk feel on this song. A little psychedelic, a little bit of a polka element to it as well. It's another unique track that's showing off the versatility that he employs when he's working with the record. His alternative style, he does a lot with it. I really appreciate that about the man. Your 9th song is called 8. This is my favorite track on the record, definitely. You get another whistle intro, which I love, but I like the dark, soft rock on this song, and the bass is so good. His violin is excellent, and then this coda is gorgeous. It's just this big old 3-minute plus jam. It's got this oceanic feel to it. It really feels like you're just exploring underwater, and this whole new world is opening up before you. It is a nicely done track. Leads into your penultimate song, Stop and Shop. That is number 10. It's got the stick bass and other elements that kind of sound like a combination of doo-wop and a little bit of 50s rock. Think of Buddy Holly, think of the Big Bopper, that scene right there. It's definitely showing off that versatility as well. I don't think there's another track on this record, another track on this record that sounds like this one, so it definitely stands out for this reason. And then Never Fall Apart, your final song. This is another great track as well. I love the open, just this 2-note beauty, a little more of that Velvet Underground, that minimalism going on there. And I love the way that this song builds. It has excellent strings that really come to a nice closure at the end of this thing. 11 songs, 48 minutes. We're getting it on one solid LP. Really a nice listen. I love the continuity of this thing, and I think you will enjoy it. We're going to vinyl please this thing, and hope you find this review helpful. Hope you share this video, subscribe to the channel, and do all the things to help me share this project in 2022. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned to the rest of the week for more reviews, and we will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.